Welcome to the Giving Garden podcast, where we explore how small acts of giving can blossom into lasting change. I'm your host, Martina, founder of the Giving Garden and CEO of Dr. Hauschka Skincare USA. In each episode, we highlight the power of giving, whether it's time, kindness, or resources, and how these acts can transform both lives and whole communities. Join me as we explore the ripple effect of giving and its lasting impact. As we close the year, I find myself thinking about how every act of care, no matter how small, has the power to nourish something greater. This month, as we gather for good, I'm joined by two remarkable guests whose stories remind us that care, when shared, becomes a force for change. Both have served on Project Bread's inaugural Advisory Council of Experts, a groundbreaking group that brought together people with lived experience of food insecurity to help shape solutions across Massachusetts. Their insights, compassion, and their leadership continue to make an incredible impact today. Paula Tobon is the 2025 recipient of the prestigious Patrick Hughes Social Justice Award for her leadership in advancing racial equity and inside-out transformation, as well as a certified coach in neurolinguistics with more than 5 years of experience guiding personal transformation for over 600 individuals across the U.S., Latin America, and Europe. She is more than a coach. She is a catalyst for change, demonstrating how reprogramming the mind can redefine what's possible for individuals and communities alike. As one of 8 founding council members, Giovanny Zuniga holds dual MBAs in business administration and project management. He has spent more than a decade in public service, developing innovative solutions for communities impacted by forced displacement and armed conflict. As a transit justice organizer at Green Roots, a leading environmental organization in Chelsea and East Boston, he works to advance equitable and sustainable public transportation solutions that improve access and quality of life for immigrants and working-class communities. Paula, Giovanny, welcome to the Giving Garden podcast. I am so excited to share your stories today, and I want to thank you for being here. I'd love to begin a little bit with your stories, and I know that our listeners would love to understand a little bit about some of the moments that shaped your understanding of food insecurity and what led you to turn those experiences into the advocacy that you're doing today. I'll start with Paula. Could you share a little bit about your personal story and when you first encountered and understood food insecurity in your own life?
Yes, of course. Hi, good morning, Martina. Thank you for the invitation. Yes, I'm Colombian. When I came to Boston as an immigrant, I knew hunger with that family, living a new life, with that French, with my Spanish, with that house. Sometimes I choose food for my daughter or food for me, and always choosing her. That pain never leaves, but I can become purpose.
That's a story that I hear so often from parents. It's you're choosing food for your children or food for yourself. And it's an easy choice in one way because you know it's your children first, but it's a difficult choice because you need to be nourished as well. You need to function in everyday life, and being fully nourished really allows you to participate in life. Giovanny, how was it for you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this amazing invitation. I'm a Colombian immigrant who arrived at the United States 7 years ago with my 2 children who were youths, 1 and 6 years old at the time. From the beginning, we faced multiple challenges, language barrier, fear of seeking information, or immigration status, and the pressure from other immigrants who often advising us to keep our heads down, work silently, and never expect opportunity to grow in this new country. We struggle with high rental costs, difficulties to navigating public transportations, and food options that were very different from what we knew in Colombia, which was especially stressful because our biggest concern was always feeding our children. While I was waiting for a work permit and a social security number, I had to find 2 jobs and quickly realized that this has been the routine for thousands of immigrants for many years. I experienced my first time the food insecurity when I began changing my eating habits and family tradition to save time and money. A painful adjustment for all of us.
Both have shared so many obstacles, and it's near and dear to my heart. My brother-in-law is from Colombia. I am second generation here. So as you move through the generations, I think the challenges become different, but I think some of the challenges remain the same in terms of access, because both of you really talked about how was I getting access? There's new systems that you're not familiar with. And it sounds like Project Bread has really been able to take away some of those barriers and some of those obstacles. So you were both part of the very first council of experts, and I think that is incredible and powerful. And Paula, I'll start with you. How did it feel stepping into a space where your experience was seen as expertise?
My experience, they become my mission. I don't just give food, I give voice. I teach women your story is no weakness. It's power.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Paula. Yes, yes, and yes.
And from the power, we change systems. This is my vision.
That is incredible. And it's twofold. It's women are so powerful. Sorry, Giovanny, it's not that men aren't powerful, but in so many ways, women can be the heart of households and especially when it comes to food, because food is such a nurturing, especially in Latin culture. Food is how we show love. Food is how we connect. And it can be a very powerful vehicle to gather people and to connect people. I love that you feel so powerful in your mission and that it's a mission. I love that, Paula. Thank you. Giovanny, how did you feel stepping into the council, a new experience with a different perspective?
It was the opportunity to transform the challenge that my family and I faced into something that could help others. When I learned about the council, I immediately felt that this wasn't a space where my journey as immigrant father and someone had navigated food insecurity could actually make difference. For many years, especially during my first months in this country, I felt invisible inside systems that not are designed with people like me in mind. Joining the council felt like reclaiming this visibility, not only for myself, but for thousands of families who similar reality.
Food insecurity isn't always visible, and people experiencing it feel invisible. And that's a painful place to be. I was brought up in a food insecure household. I received free lunch, and that is a difficult space because it doesn't always look like the stereotypes we've been taught. They come to the conversation making assumptions about what food insecurity looks like. And sometimes it's our neighbor, it's our coworkers, it's even our friends. Paula, what misconceptions do you often see when you are talking about experiences food insecurity? And what are some of those kind of common misnomers that you feel are out there?
Like you say, people think if you are hungry, you don't work or you can work.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
But with hungry, I worked 3 jobs, 17 hours every day. And I still had no food in home. So hunger doesn't care if you are strong, smart, black, blue, green, or proud. It hits families, moms, students, workers, and she keeps them silent. Or but in I don't know how to pronounce invisible. Yeah. Shame
is a very heavy part of this conversation because there's so much stigma for so many people. And wow, you said something that I think our audience will understand very clearly. People who are experiencing food insecurity are working people. They are people that are in our communities, possibly in the same office that we might work in. People are working, and it doesn't mean that they're not working or they're not contributing to society, that they are simply not making a livable wage that allows them to feed the people in their household the way they need to nourish them. So thank you, Paula. Giovanny, from your perspective, what are some of the stigmas that you see in the conversations that you're having in your advocacy work?
Several moments have marked me deeply. For example, I always remember I seen families, especially immigrants and seniors, waiting in long lines outside of community food pantries, cities like Chelsea, Everett, Riviera. Many stood quietly, avoiding eye contact, clearly embarrassed to be seen. Some people will ask me if going to a pantry could affect their immigration processes or if someone may judge them for needing help. The fear and silence say more than words. I've spoken with parents who skip meals to make sure that the children have enough to eat. The silence is rooted in stigma.
Silence and avoiding eye contact. No one should be silent. Everybody should be empowered. When you're feeling empowered and you have that sense of mission, like Paula said, that eye contact is powerful, and that inability to feed yourself on any given day should not come with shame. And that kind of brings me to the next conversation. Project Bread's Council of Experts was founded on the belief that those closest to the problem are also closest to the solution. And when you talk about the shame, the lack of eye contact, and how people are operating within that food access system, you're helping people access reliable food sources. How do we shift that narrative a little bit? And how do we help people in our communities access that with a little bit more dignity? What are some of the things that you've done, or what are some of the things that our listeners that are here today can think about acting possibly a little differently when they're engaging and supporting community organizations and the people that are using them?
After the spirits, we can normalize conversation about food insecurity. Hunger is far more common than people realize, especially in immigrant and vulnerable communities. When we talk about it openly, without judgments, we reduce shame and create a space for people to seek help. Second, we can create environments where accessing support feels safe. That means offering information in multiple languages, using welcoming and culturally sensitive communication, and ensuring families know that getting help will not affect their immigration status or their future opportunities. Trust is built through transparency. Here, we can actively participate in community effort, volunteering, donating, or simply sharing resources with neighbors. Sometimes one conversation can be the risk that someone meets.
I love that. One conversation can change something. One conversation can create this space. I often talk about creating and holding space for people and creating a safe space. I think you said that, Giovanny, really can help people feel comfortable and confident to access assistance and help. And I think that is really a beautiful thing that you're able to do, is to create the space for safety and cultural relevance. I think cultural relevance, while it's really this beautiful conversation of three Latinas on here, three Latinos, sorry, Giovanny, is that there are so many, we're a melting pot in the United States. There's so many diverse people that are accessing and need to access resources in our country, and making it culturally relevant, as well as making it accessible for vulnerable communities. One of the communities that people often overlook in the food insecurity conversation, many people seeking aid are elderly people. So they have worked their whole life. They have contributed in so many ways. They've raised a generation of children, and it's difficult for them, whether it's a mobility issue, it's a transportation issue, and really hitting every aspect of access, whether it's language, whether it's cultural relevance, whether it's transportation and mobility issues. And really from a healthcare perspective, as we know, as people age, there's other health conditions that are more prevalent, and making sure that we're providing access to food sources that are going to support those health conditions as people age, I think is incredible and incredibly important. So Paula, from your perspective, what are some of the things that we can do or we can offer people in our community? Similar to what Giovanny was talking about, what else can we do to help people feel safe in accessing help or feeling less isolated? Because asking for help can feel very isolating at times.
First, stop judging the people.
Judging. Got you.
Stop judging the people. Start listening. Say and see you. I respect you. Offer help with love, not pity. Food is not charity. It's dignity, and everyone deserves it.
Yes, absolutely. Dignity is something that I think is often left out of the conversation, because to nourish yourself every single day is about dignity. Humans come into the world, and if you're going to participate and contribute to society, being nourished is a fundamental human right. Having access to food on any given day that is reliable and healthy is a human right from my perspective. And so when we know that hunger, that kind of takes me to the next bigger conversation, is we know that hunger doesn't exist in isolation. It's tied to housing, it's tied to healthcare, it's tied to wages, all of the systems that shape daily life in our communities. And what systemic barriers do you believe most prevent people, and especially families, from achieving consistent food security? And how have you seen Project Bread work to dismantle some of these barriers? I'll start with you, Paula.
Before, they spoke for us. Now, they speak with us.
Big difference. Excellent. Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. When I walk into a meeting, I'm not alone and carry the voice on immigrants' moms. And that changed everything: programs, language. My starting Project Bread and the word in the community, there's one word that always, I don't know how to pronounce this word, in the identifier, Project Bread. Mm-hmm. For me, our work with the community, the Project Bread job, and everything about food insecurity, the word is inclusion.
Yes. Everybody's experience is so uniquely different, but I love what you said. They're not speaking for you any longer. They're speaking with you, and they're giving and creating the space for you to have your own voice in the conversation. Because obviously, if food insecurity has been part of your experience, that voice is very different than somebody who hasn't experienced it. That is really fantastic. Your stories show that leadership can grow out of struggle. You both are leading in so many incredible ways, and that advocacy is also a form of healing. What personal growth have each of you experienced through this work, whether it's as a community leader, as an advocate, or as a human being? Giovanny?
Yeah, I feel that a very important moment was when we represent Project Bread in a national conference, anti-hunger, in Washington. We have an opportunity to participate as the speakers. And I feel that the most important in this big process was when we can share our experience with a lot of organizations across the country. When we finished the presentation, we received a lot of questions and a lot of comments for other organizations, very interested in understand how life experience projects can generate a real impact, not only in food security, like it's our project. It's a model that you can use in other sectors like housing, public health. The most important always is think in the people have a real experience and have the knowledge to participate in spaces and take the important decision to improve our own quality life.
Yeah, Project Bread is an incredible model. in terms of not just food insecurity, all of the wraparound services that they provide and access to healthcare, and really addressing the bigger construct of what's happening in society in terms of health, wellness, and how it is all connected to nourishment and sustenance on a daily basis. So thank you, Giovanny. Paula, from your perspective, I would love to hear.
When I came broken, I thought I don't matter. Now I know my pain gave me power. I'm not just a survivor. I am a leader, a mother, a coach. I have my own business now. I am a Project Bread ambassador. Now I speak English. I lead meetings. I was awarded with the Patrick Hughes Award in the World Against Hunger for my work with the community. So yeah, this is a big difference, I came broken and now I am the voice for my community.
That's incredible. I can see that you're probably an amazing coach. So that is awesome. So if you were sharing with somebody else who's experiencing food insecurity, maybe for the first time, what would you be able to share with them in perhaps helping them move from feeling broken to this place of advocacy? Because I know it didn't happen overnight for you. And I think there's a lot of steps, but what could you share with somebody that you might meet today or tomorrow at one of the food access points that is really feeling food insecurity, either for themselves or their family? How could you help them kind of pivot into advocacy?
I feel that it's very important that we talk in our communities and share all these resources that Project Bread has available, because Project Bread are leading a Make Hunger History Coalition. That is an active coalition that with most than 500 active members across Massachusetts. And it's important that we understand that we have all this group to support the fight with food insecurity. And we can use all this power for offering real solution at vulnerable communities affected for insecurity food problem.
I heard a couple of really amazing things. There's groups, so you're not alone. So it takes away the isolation, and it's power. Both of you have spoken about power. And I think that is such a critical part of this conversation, that people experiencing food insecurity are not powerless. And also, as community members, we can help support them in regaining or finding their power in a moment of difficulty. So thank you, Giovanny. At the Giving Garden, we believe that every act of care plants a seed that can nourish something greater. Before we close, I'd love for you both to share how our listeners can join you in the work that you're doing. What is something that's very tangible, very real world actionable that our listeners can support programs like Project Bread or contributing to ending hunger in their own communities this season?
Go to projectbread.org and donate. Every dollar helps feed a family, but also volunteer, listen, share a story. Most important, talk about hunger. Break the silence, because when we speak up, we rise together.
I love that. Break the silence. When we speak up, we rise together. Paula, Giovanny, thank you for sharing your time, your stories, and most importantly, your hearts. You've reminded us that giving isn't only about what we offer. It's about how we listen, how we stand together, and how we choose to act. For our listeners, if today's conversation has moved you, we invite you to learn more about Project Bread and the Advisory Council of Experts at projectbread.org or visit drhauschka.com, The Giving Garden, to see how your care can help nourish communities across the country. Every act of giving is a seed, and together we can grow a future where everyone has access to food, dignity, and care. Until next time, thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping us gather for good. Thank you for listening to the Giving Garden podcast. I hope you're leaving inspired, because even the smallest act can spark positive change. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. The Giving Garden podcast is produced by Edwin Batista and edited by Stephen West. A special thanks to Helen Polisi for her guidance and generosity. The Giving Garden podcast is brought to you by Dr. Hauschka Skincare USA, pioneers in natural skincare for over 50 years, and home to the Giving Garden loyalty program. Visit drhauschka.com to learn more.